Hello, welcome to episode 9 of Collateral Damage. I hope you all are having a fantastic day today. We have a brand new battle report for y'all with some very spicy tech with, I believe, Jake's 2 against the one and only Ragemonger. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Doing well. It is Shark Week 2025.
Heck yeah.
All right, my list this week features Braghen Ragemonger, the man on the shark himself. This week I've racked Fortify, Fury Strength, and Rough Seas. Rounding out his battle group is his BFF Sharkman Chum and a couple of Viraugers. Going for all the beasts that swim in the sea. We've got the traditional 4 units of Marauders that are part and parcel of most Brineblood List. We're going with 2 Bosun attachments and 2 Quartermaster attachments this week. We've got a pair of Booty Bosses to help buff them up, a Fire Guardian for magical weapons, Madame Moriarty for those sweet free upkeeps, Pig Dirge for a little bit of accuracy improvement on the range attacks, and the almost as ubiquitous as the Marauders, 2 units of Pig Boarding Party to be annoying little speed bumps. My cards that I have chosen this week are Blessing of the Gods, Careful Reconnaissance, Duck and Cover, Lucky Penny, and Old Faithful.
On my end, I am running the newly promoted Colonel Allison Jakes. On my end, I also went ahead and racked Silence of Death and Deceleration. I thought about taking Arcane Shield instead, but staring down that many Quartermasters, I figured Deceleration was probably going to get a good chunk of work in. Outside of that, we have the generic budget Patriots. We've got a bunch of them with Shield Guard, Pole Cleavers, and Trench Blades for a nice little 6-point package. Very good for building up synergy. After those 4, we are then pulling in Plugger. Plugger is incredible with virtually every single caster in Gravediggers, and Jake's is no exception. A Synergy 3 Plugger is a thing of beauty when that thing pops off. After that, we then have 2 Valiants. Again, a fairly budget build on them. They are with the Aggressive Head, Trench Sword, and Slug Fit for a nice, tidy 12-point package. After that, we are moving on to Stella Baranda. She is there to mostly unclog us a little bit. Like a 3-point tactician forgives a multitude of sins, and it lets you position and clump up a little bit more than you would otherwise be able to. After that, we then have our obligatory commandos and officer to be able to ambush on the side as needed, and then our 2 Gravedigger gun mages and the rowdies. We are a little bit short on things that are going to be triggering a butcher's bill, but with the rowdies there, I'm not super worried about it because, I mean, what are you going to do? Not attack the rowdies when they go in? Sure. For our cards, we have Blessings of the Gods, Defenses, which is fantastic, just given Gravediggers have a lot of cards, and being able to just have one that's immediately getting impact for you from the start of the game onwards is, without having to play it, is incredibly useful. Then we are taking a single heavy airdrop, so we can pull in a light jack or a heavy weapon if we need to, just for a little bit of utility. 2 lights, Lucky Penny, Military Engineering, and Old Faithful.
The scenario that we played this week is Scenario 1, Color Guard. Color Guard has 2 50mm objectives on the center line of the board, a couple of caches and a couple of flags. The twist on this one is that after replacing the flag the first time, starting at on the second player's second turn, you move your opponent's flag to an eligible terrain piece within 5 inches of the last scenario terrain piece that wasn't already used. If there's no valid terrain piece to move it to, it stays put. and the flag then remains in that location till the end of the game. So you get to move your opponent's flag when scoring begins. Scoring happens, the 50mm objectives are 1 victory point apiece. The cache is a 2 victory point one-time thing, and then the scenario terrains that are moving around are 2 victory points apiece. As usual, the game ends either when somebody scores 3 points higher than their opponents on their opponent's turn, or at the end of the second player's 7th turn. Start off with deployment for the Brineblood Marauders. I have a fairly symmetrical list with a lot of multiples of things, either 2s and 4s. And since we have a pretty symmetrical scenario as well, what I ended up doing was putting a couple units of Marauders on each side of the center point. I have a bosun and quartermaster on each flank. I sort of deployed my beasts centrally around Ragemonger. He's got I'd say an average control area at 12 inches, but it's really important for him to keep his beasts in his control area, not only to, leech fury, but also when its feet turn, they do a ton of work. Each of the blocks of 2 units of Marauders is backed up by their own booty boss. And then we've got Madame Moriarty in the middle for support. And then we put the Pig Dirge over on the far right flank to help out on that side.
Now it is time for me to deploy my grand total of 7 models for regular deployment. Go ahead and put Jake's in the center there behind one of the walls. And then we are going ahead and then just fanning out our jacks slightly so we can have good coverage over all of the scenario pieces. And that's mostly going to be it for my regular deployment.
Swift as Corey's regular deployment was, so is my advanced deployment. Basically what I did was take my 2 units of Pig Boarding Party and set them sort of in front of the blocks of Marauders as the adorable little speed bumps that they are. Also had my Fire Guardian distant deploy up to offer some magical weapons sort of central.
Now we are moving into my actual deployment by and large. We go ahead and start measuring out safe spots for the Rowdies. They are going to be in front of Jake's, and I am going ahead and trying to figure out some good spots that I can move up to have them plowed to block the maximum amount of visual range for my opponent. Just want to make it harder for Anthony to trivially kill Jake's with Ragemonger. After that, we are then going to start, putting our gun mages off around our jacks to make sure that we have full access to empower as necessary. We get Stella Baron in there, and then after that we get to go to our beautiful overview. As you can see, we have some fantastic fully painted lists today, because unlike the rest of our contributors, some of us actually paint models.
What?
Get to work, you bums.
Oh.
Getting started with Brineblood's turn 1. As with most turn 1s, it's mostly just unpacking the army, getting set up into a good position for future turns. Do have to be a little careful. Corey is playing Cygnar after all, and they got some guns. But take some time, make some measurements here, figure out some threat ranges, and start to move up here and get into some fairly safe places. Of course, my biggest opponent every turn 1 playing with this many models is myself. Really easy to trip over your own models as you unpack, especially without playing Boomhowler, Admiral Boomhowler, who has the tactician ability to move through her own models. None of that on Mr. Sharkman, so we are just going to take it slow and make sure to unpack properly. With the pigs up, just out of gun range. Get ready to send them into what moves up the board. Hopefully buy a little time for other things to get there. Get Ragemonger out there behind the wall. He throws Fortify over on Chum to mostly mitigate the negative parts of Stumbling Drunk. Throw a Fury off because I'm going to need to generate more to run everything up to where it needs to be. And get those right side Marauders and that Pig Dirge into place. Making sure that we are squatted up appropriately to score the objective on that side. Start moving the left side now. Starting with Chum up in front of the wall. The unit with the Quartermaster on that side to the center. And the Bosun unit over on the left side. Finally, we hop up our frogs, pun intended. Booty bosses will then move up, stick set defense on the couple units of pigs, and then we'll run Madam M up to support, and that's the turn.
My turn is going to be also fairly quick. Frankly, I spend most of this turn just measuring out where the rowdies need to go. First things first, though, we always just go ahead and move Estella up and go ahead and pop that Tactician. Again, just gonna make everything so much easier for us. After that, we then do some measurements and figure out that where we want the rowdies to be clouding up. Goal here is to use that piece of terrain as well to create some weird line of sight if they want to get anywhere near our stuff. After that, we do a nice little reposition back and then begin moving up the bulk of our forces. Jakes goes ahead and pulls up Synergy and Silence of Death, then is going to be moving up. I really do have to call out that model. I really enjoy the My Mini Crate model from the subscription plan they've been doing. The Extreme Jakes is fantastically characterful, much better than the original one, at least in my humble opinion. Looks fantastic on the tabletop as well. After that, we're going to go ahead and start putting our Valiants in some aggressive positions. I do make a slight mistake there. I'd hoped to be able to cover them entirely without having to fuel cache, but unfortunately the one on down there near the bottom is not going to be able to fully threaten that objective. Overall, we still have some pretty good opportunities here. We go ahead and start pushing our Patriots up into some threatening positions so that if anything tries to get cute onto the objectives, we can really get in on there. Then we have our gun mages mostly stay back and get in good spots to be able to empower as necessary. We're actually able to move Plugger into a slightly more aggressive position just due to his stealth. It cuts the range on the pulls a little bit from him, which just lets him get in a little bit deeper, which can then pay dividends later on. After that, we just fan out a little bit, make sure everything is good, clean up our board state, and call it.
So at the end of turn one, I think we both positioned ourselves into a strong position for turn two. I know myself, I'm looking, I know I'm still quite a ways away from Corey's models. I'm probably going to have to position forward yet another turn and then probably end up taking it on the chin and then hoping to clamp back. So that's what I'll be looking to do as we get into turn two.
Yeah, I'm mostly trying to aggressively cover the scenarios so that anything that goes in on them I can safely just kind of delete. And then after that, we intend to just kind of pull back and almost certainly feat this turn just so I can try to tank as much as I can. I have a strong suspicion that whenever I all in on the objectives, I'm going to see Ragemonger jump the metaphorical and literal shark.
Start out Brineblood's turn 2 by leeching my Fury back to full. Utilize Madame Moriarty to upkeep Fortify on Chum for free. Now I am looking to see if there's any way that I can get any sort of cheeky drags with either Ragemonger or the Viraggers in. Checking range to scenario. We start moving up the pigs to make sure I've got some strong contesting models there. Point scoring starts on at the end of Corey's turn. Feel pretty good about leaving them over there with the Fortify card, or I'm sorry, the Duck and Cover card played on them, so that they'll get cover and blast resistance. I'm measuring out a proxy base for Ragemonger to see what the range of Rough Seas is going to be. Feeling that I like where that's at, I go ahead and move him up to the proxy base and cast Rough Seas. Move up the other unit of pigs, pull them slightly back from the other side, sort of stack them up behind that piece of terrain, giving myself a place here to put Chum. Figure between the defense 14 and annoyance on the pigs, and then Chum's naturally high armor plus Fortify plus the unyielding field marshal from the caster plus his excessive healing animus. He should be able to tank a little bit for me there. We move the Marauders up into a position where hopefully they can get some work done next turn. Just trying to put them in terrain where possible, hide them behind screens of pigs where possible. They are the real hammer of this army, especially on feat turns, so I got to make sure they stay good and safe where we can. The booty bosses move up, put some set defenses out, just in case Corey decides to send some jacks my way with synergy. Had to check there to see if that was a water feature. It was not. Move our frogs into position. Everybody into terrain. Leaving the pig dirge where it is. Just making sure everything is contesting on those center line objectives.
So this is, as the children say, go time. We start by assessing the board state and trying to put together a couple of plans. Going to start knocking out some measurements, but the first thing that's going to be easy is we're just going to be going ahead and chopping off those jacks with our gun mages. In particular, we're spreading out just enough. We want to make sure that the Patriots have enough to boost and potentially buy another attack in case they whiff to make sure that synergy goes off. Then after that, we are fully loading Plugger as well as one of the Valiants. Overall goal here is to send Plugger into that flank and hopefully wipe out 2 units of Marauders. And then over there, we want to have the Silence of Death on our Valiant to hopefully pick up Chum. I feel pretty good about both of those. Unfortunately, it looks like the Chum is just going to be slightly out of range, so I'm going to have to pick up some stuff in order to drop a airdrop in there to fix that. We go ahead and start by tossing a few shots in with Stella Baron before we go ahead and pop off Tactician. She just shoots her grenade because she can, kills a pig with blast damage after whiffing, and then we start planning our important things. First thing is that the rowdies need to activate. We have to do something about that healing if we are going to be able to put Chum down. So we have Dalton drop Grievous Wounds straight onto Chum. After that, we then attempt to put some attacks into the Marauders, and it doesn't go particularly well for us, unfortunately. We don't really do any particular damage with the Marauders, despite killing spree making me hope to maybe pick up 2 or 3 of them. The dice just don't go our way in that. But that was mostly just gravy if we killed any of them. The important thing was tagging Chum with that Grievous Wound, which happens no problem at all. After that, we are then going to start to get our synergy online. We do some measurements with our Patriots. Start looking at the various angles that we have there. We just go ahead and start on the left, move up there, boost an attack, nail it, sidestep in a little bit deeper, but we don't want to disrupt our synergy chain. So after that, we are just going to chill right where we are, deciding that sidestepping is not the best plan. After that, we are then going to move with the other one, go right in there, charge, boost, hit, gets our synergy to 2. Sidestep back, pretty good. We do some measurements with Plugger to make sure that he can get in where I need to. Fully loaded, I'm expecting him to kill about 3 trolls per attack on some napkin math, but we'll see how that goes in just a little bit. Final Patriot's going to charge in, boost an attack on 2 synergy, and try to get us fully topped off. And we nail that, and get that pig down. No real good sidestep opportunities there, so we just move in a little bit closer to that objective, and then we start looking to do the actual work of the turn. We go ahead and start in with Plugger. At synergy at +3, he's going to be mat 11, so not double ones to hit, and immediately get a double ones. But that's okay. Even with a dodge, we are close enough to the other ones where we're not going to have any significant problems here. We go ahead and go in with our second attack. Hit, proc a tough check. Nope. Move there. Hit, proc a tough check. Nope. Move there. Hit, proc a tough check. Nope. Move in. Walk around in circles for a minute as I talk myself through things. Then decide to go back to playing the game. Going to go ahead and dig in. Hit. Proc a tough check. We'll make that one. Buy an attack. Move in. Killing spree. Swing again. Proc a tough check. Nope. Dig in just a little bit. Make an attack there. Proc a tough check. Nope. Move there. Swing. Proc a tough check. Nope. Swing. Proc a tough check. Yes. Hit it. Buy an attack. Move in. Proc a tough check. Nope. Move in. Proc a tough check. Yes. We are going to then move up there. We do an airdrop and then get our Valiant in position. This is the first, I think, other mistake I make this turn is the only real one that I think that I probably should have avoided. Should have had that other Patriot drop that airdrop so I could Blessings of the Gods on that Valiant. But I didn't think about it, and thus we go ahead and charge in. Valiant with a synergy at +3 and Brutal Charge and Silence of Death is hitting at a nasty PS24. Unfortunately, our first roll isn't quite there, but we still are getting in some good damage. Hit with our fist, do a little bit of damage there, then we just start buying attacks. Without excessive healing to shut this down, we are getting some solid damage in all the way through. But when it turns out and all the dust is settled, Chum is still left alive, sitting on 2. I do a little bit of quick math to see if there's anything that I can do about that, and decide no, it just sucks to suck. We are going to move Jake's out of death range, go ahead and drop military engineering to dig her in, and then just shift a few models around and call that a turn. We go ahead and move the flags, and then we look at the scoring. Well, I didn't mention that I did feat with Jake's at the very end of that turn. So at this point, I just did not get quite as much work done as I would like, and I know that I'm going to be looking at a Ragemonger next turn. But with most of my jacks at defense 15 and 14, even with feat, that's not really the ideal target for a lot of the things that would be going into it. So I'm hopeful that as long as I don't lose movement first on most of my jacks to weather the brunt of this and then be able to come back swinging next turn.
Had a moment of hubris there when I realized, probably too late, that a lot of things in Corey's army have access to grievous wounds. So it is by sheer dumb luck that Chum still stands, although there's not a lot I can do with him, even though I've got the cards for Old Faithful, and he normally regenerates automatically D3 points. All that is turned off for the turn, so we're going to have to get a strategy going for turn 3 that doesn't rely too much on my big beautiful shark boy. We'll see what we can pull together. All right, Brinebloods, turn 3. Go ahead and upkeep Fortify on Chum for free, because, I mean, there's really no reason not to. Get our Fury off of our beasts and back onto Ragemonger where it belongs. No, I'm going to feat this turn, but first we got a couple Vengeance moves here. The Bosun out of that Marauders unit up front live, so I'm going to move over and try to beat a rowdy or two in the maintenance phase. Discussing their defensive capabilities under feat turn. Do end up taking one of them out off of the Vengeance. Do a little chip damage around the others. Getting into the turn proper, I know I've got to come back up and reestablish some scenario presence on the my right-hand side there at the top of your screen. Since Plugger came in and got to plugging through my ranks of trolls. So the scenario terrain is on that big piece there that I'm measuring 3 inches off of now. So just trying to plan out a good place to take advantage of the blimps targeting gallery or shooting gallery buff, as well as toss a cheeky little bomb over here on Plugger. But hit, but can't crack the armor with a bad roll. No use in delaying the inevitable. I know this is going to be feet turn for Ragemonger, so we move him out just a hair, do the feet to place him within 5, and then start taking some attacks on Plugger. Definitely, he's public enemy number 1 right now with that killing spree and sidestep combo. I don't want him to just absolutely eviscerate my back lines. Get some solid damage in on Plugger, but not Ragemonger's not able to put it to bed himself. So we have the Animus from the Viraga up for the +2 damage, which is what that token is that I put down. Pull him in with the spear. Get a few solid hits, but not enough to kill it. And then at the end of the attack sequence, I have I think I'm camping 1, and I use Ragemonger's reposition to move back out of the way. Now we're just trying to figure out where I want to go next. Feet is up, which is a big accuracy and damage swing. If I roll 1s, they turn to 6s. We end up using one of the booty bosses to put Stir the Blood on this back unit of Marauders here. Try to take a shot with a hand cannon, because why not? I'm going to go ahead and move over to the Marauders who vengeanced at the start of the turn. After debating a little bit, checking some defenses, we decide to spread some attacks out amongst the rowdies. And we've got the bosun over within range of Plugger. Contemplating here because I want to make sure I do this in the right order of activation, so I don't jam myself out from additional charge lanes. All right, we start putting some attacks down into the rowdies here. Kill 1. And at the Plugger, we do another solid chunk. Okay, moving on. We just run these pigs out of the way. Hopefully with the play to make them move up to the scenario terrain in a future turn. We leap the yellow Viraga up here to attack the Patriot here on the side. Pull it in with the tongue so we can start to melee it. The aura on the Viraga's Paralyzing Gaze gives a -2 defense to everything within 5 of it, so it's a nice little way to minimize the effects of Jake's feat. That said, it does only have mat 5 itself, so It's not a guarantee on the hits.
Hey, Mike here. And remember, if you want a guaranteed hit, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, and hit that bell so you can stay up to date on all of our battle reports. And just a reminder, we have a Discord server. Feel free to join it. Information in the description below.
Taking some attacks with Chum now. We're rolling 1 dice to hit because his mind is out. But we did get the mine flail to go off and kill that last rowdy. And we're moving over with the right side of Virager, getting in 3 inches of both the scenario terrain and the objective there on the center line. We use the tongue attack to pull in that jack straight across from him. I think this is where I make a little bit of an error here. One day I'll remember that the Viragers are Fury 3 and not Fury 4. It's hard not to fall victim to the bloodlust when you're under Ragemonger feet. We start making attacks and putting some good damage around on that jack as well. We're sending in those Marauders now. Really want to get Plugger put to bed. They double feet for the Quartermaster's range and the attack accuracy and damage boost. We start putting melee attacks into Plugger, pull him off the board after the damage that Ragemonger and the Bosun did earlier. And now with that unit freed up, we start making some shots. Thanks to the paralyzing gaze from the Virager and the blimp over there, the accuracy is pretty high, and a couple shots take down that jack that the Virager on the right side fought earlier. Now we're going to take some shots at this jack here in the middle by this nuclear waste objective or terrain piece. Gonna move over, put Stir the Blood from the other booty boss onto this left unit of Marauders. And we're gonna send them on in. Pretty good charge angle here against these two jacks on this side. I'm having to fuss with Chum. He has scorn problems and overhangs his base incredibly, but it's the price you pay for having a cool model. So we've got a mix of these models on both the Valiant and the Patriot over here. They are buffed up with Stir the Blood, so they'll be hitting fairly hard. Accurate from the Virager's Paralyzing Gaze. We pull the Light Jack. Start putting some attacks into the Heavy Jack. we get there. Marauders doing work like they do. Got a couple of shots left. I don't think they end up doing anything, but we take them because we got them. Looking at the battlefield now. We got a couple of. We did a lot of work this turn, but I do have some concerns. I have ran my beasts very hot, and my caster is not flapping in the breeze, but he's not screened off either.
So that did not go quite how I would like it. Just about all of my jacks lost movement first there, which was a problem, and we ended up hemorrhaging a little bit more than I would like. This has me start doing some measurements as I go into panic mode. And I make my other, I think, large mistake of this game. So go ahead and pause the video, pull the color, and play as much sad music as we can without getting copyright struck. But I begin looking at angles to see if I can get Jakes onto Ragemonger. I can get probably a Synergy 3 Jakes onto him after a single sidestep, but even then, I'm just going to be a 15 into an armor 19. Don't love that. What I frankly should have done this turn instead is just shaved off this entire bottom section of the board with Jakes with sidestep and flashing blade. I probably could have pulled off that unit. Then I could have then shoved my surviving Valiant into the other frog, picked that one up, ambush in with my commandos, and then push them up there and begin working on the scenario angle. The one godsend that I had on that last turn is that Anthony only scored 1, and his flag is basically going to be out of reach for the next 2 to 3 turns. But I am, again, in full panic mode and going, oh no, I lost too much, and don't take the tactical option there. Instead, we go ahead and get Synergy built up and start planning out our assassination. We get everything set up there. Unfortunately, we aren't able to get any real damage with the Synergy 2 Jack that goes under Ragemonger. But then we are going to just quietly sidestep up in there and begin swinging. Ragemonger has no transfer targets, but we still have to burn through all of that health. I do a boost and get trapped for damage, and then immediately begin panicking once again and decide, well, screw it, I am just going to have to spike. This is an incredibly poor choice, but sometimes God likes incredibly poor choices. And in the end here, after several attacks, we are able to, down to the box, pick up a completely unearned assassination, and then seal the deal with grievous wounds on Hurt Blades natively to stop the tough check.
Yeah, I think the biggest I made 2 major mistakes in this battle. I think the first one is there's that green Vrager on the right side of my board did not need to fully expend its 3 Fury to kill the light jack that it had pulled in. There were still a ton of attacks from the Marauders that just ended up frankly going wasted. I should have left it open as a transfer target. If I'd even been able to use the 1 transfer for the Fury I had camped, I would have survived that assassination run. I probably would have survived that assassination run. I think the other thing that I noted is that obviously that was my fault, neglecting to realize about the grievous wounds for Chum. I really should have probably led with a Vrager. Chum is such an important anchor piece for this list although I love my Vragers and love all that they can do for the list, Impervious Flesh doesn't care if you have grievous wounds. It just makes you do 1 less die of damage no matter who you are. So I could have fortified it up, and with the Unyielding Field Marshal, it would have been armor 19 Impervious Flesh on the front lines, which would have been not impossible to kill, but a little tougher than chewing through my big beautiful shark boy. So But Corey, I know you say that you got lucky there and made bad decisions, but I think you did well and you played well, and always appreciate our games and end up learning something at the end.
No, this was a fantastically informative game. I only have a couple of reps in with Jake so far, but I have found her to be a very interesting caster. A big problem with my tunnel vision towards the end is that Gravediggers is a faction that just has so many options available at any given time that sussing out what the best one is very frequently something that I only do with hindsight. I do very much enjoy playing against Ragemonger, and I would love to try to do that matchup again sometime. His feat is fascinating. I actually spent a good amount of time prior to our game trying to suss out how the math works on his feat turn, try to figure out how much I should be expecting it to skew the dice. It is obviously very weird just because of how it adjusts the dice rolls in the curve. Overall, I ultimately have been trying to view it as roughly a skew up of like 2 to 2.5 across 6 attacks. So like each individual one is not going to necessarily be too higher, but across that volume, you're going to see roughly an increase of 2.5 to 3. That kind of helped me math out what I was going to be doing there, and it also kind of informed how I was going to try to deal with it. Just because if you can skew defense or armor, the defense is usually better into him, just because the less attack rolls he gets to make, the less chance he has to turn those 1s into 6s.
Well, I want to thank everybody out there in our audience for watching. Heck of a fun game today, and we invite you all to like, comment, subscribe, join our Discord that is linked down in the video description, and we will see you on an upcoming Warmachine Wednesday with another bat rep from Collateral Damage. See ya.
Deuces, y'all.